The Mandalorian Season 3 was straight trash. I mean, it was absolutely garbage. And now Jon Favreau, the showrunner, has spoken directly to the fans about the criticism, and, spoiler alert, he got it wrong.
Echo 3 to Echo 7. Mono, buddy. 3
Echo Station 3PA.
Thank you for being here at Echo Base Network. Hit that like button and everything else everybody else says in all of their videos. I appreciate it very much. Jon Favreau took a lot of criticism for The Mandalorian Season 3. And there was a time period where we were like, who is actually doing this show? Is it Favreau or Filoni? It feels like Filoni. What has happened here? Because The Mandalorian Seasons 1 and 2 was absolutely fantastic. In Season 3, huge drop in decline. And if you don't believe that, I'm going to show you the receipts in just a moment. And I also want to look at what Jon Favreau just said in a recent interview. Actually, it wasn't an interview at all. It was on Disney Gallery. The Disney Gallery episode that takes us behind the scenes of The Mandalorian Season 3. Basically, the only good thing that came out of it at all was Jon Favreau speaking to the fans about the criticism over Season 3, and the truth is, he absolutely misses the point and gets it all wrong, but I get it. He's trying to justify himself. He's trying to justify the job that he did or whatever, and I don't know. I think he's off on this one. Let's look and see what he says. So this has blown up today. It's at several different news outlets. I'm going to use MovieWebs here. The Mandalorian Din Djarin was never meant to be Star Wars Aragorn, says the show creator. Jon Favreau reveals that Mando was not intended as Star Wars Aragorn, clarifying the character's unique identity. Who ever said that Din Djarin needs to be Aragorn? I have absolutely no... You're talking about going back to Mandalore, and I am the king, I am the ruler, everybody bow, kneel before Zod. Wait, wrong movie. But you know what I'm saying. Like, he wasn't going to return to Mandalore and be the leader of Mandalore, and I don't think that's where the fans have a problem. But anyways, I want to hear Jon Favreau out. Jon Favreau, the showrunner of The Mandalorian, recently revealed that Din Djarin was never meant to be the Star Wars version of Aragorn from The Lord of the Rings. In the third season of The Mandalorian, the narrative focus shifted towards Bo-Katan, diverting attention from Din and Grogu. Din's journey, which began with a quest for redemption, took unexpected turns as he sought to reclaim Mandalore and confront his long-standing adversary, Moff Gideon. Speaking in the new Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian official making of Season 3, Favreau explained that the audience's expectations of Din transforming into a leader and ascending to the throne, similar to Aragorn's storyline, were not aligned with the series' direction, he said. And here's his quote. I think people expected Mando. He had the sword. He's going to take the throne. He's going to change from a traveling bounty hunter to Aragorn or something. And you felt like, oh, that seems like where you're going to go with it. But if you look at the clues, it actually, hopefully, makes you reach the conclusion of where we went, because if you notice from the first time Din uses the darksaber, it's heavy for him. So that's your justification for not having Mando take over Mandalore, because the darksaber's heavy for him? John, that's weak sauce. Now, I know that Jon Favreau didn't have anything to do with the production of Star Wars Rebels or its storyline, but let's see exactly what Kanan Jarrus and Sabine said about the darksaber. From Rebels, Sabine, holding the darksaber while it's ignited, she says, it's heavier than I expected. And then Kanan says, energy constantly flows through the crystal. You're not so much fighting with a simple blade as you are directing a current of its power. Your thoughts, your actions, they become energy. They flow through the crystal as well and become a part of the blade. So you see, now we know, through a storytelling perspective, Din's thoughts were preoccupied on Grogu. He was missing Grogu, his adopted son, at that time, and that's why he was having a hard time wielding the darksaber. So I totally get it, but the thing is, Jon Favreau is wrong to use that as a crutch to say, oh, it was heavy for him, so he's not going to rule Mandalore. He's not equipped to do such a thing. Come on, John. That's actually not good. And I like you, John, but everybody is capable of making a mistake, and you just made one. Furthermore, what he's saying here really has nothing to do with why fans hated Season 3. Like, maybe hate is too strong of a word. Fans, on the whole, were not receptive to Season 3. There's your receipt right there. The critics, 85%. The audience score, which is by far the most important score. The critic score don't mean crap. The audience gave it a 50%. The lowest for The Mandalorian by far. In fact, it's the lowest live streaming Star Wars show rating that we've ever had. Mandalorian Season 3. Lower than the Book of Boba Fett, lower than Kenobi, lower than everything. It was horrible. And in case you forgot, The Hollywood Reporter did a full article about the massive drop in quality on The Mandalorian, and they go all in, from Lizzo the Hutt and what's his face, Jack Black, to the title of the show is irrelevant now because it's not about The Mandalorian. It's not about Din Djarin. Din Djarin is The Mandalorian, right? Well, now they changed the meaning for the entire show because they ran out of story. That's why. That's another problem with this. They totally ran out of story. Now, I like Bo-Katan. I am in favor of Katie Sackhoff getting her own show and all that stuff. But the thing is, you just handed the ball off to Katie Sackhoff, and she is, season 3 was hers. It was her story. It wasn't about Din Djarin. It wasn't about Grogu. It wasn't about them being bounty hunters or anything like that. It was the Mandalore arc. And, that deserved a different show. That should have been a Katie Sackhoff show, truth be told. And that's my opinion, and I'm definitely sticking to it. I mean, just look right here from the Hollywood Reporter. Interestingly, in adding some credence to the blowback, the complaints aren't centered around one thing, but all of these different grievances ranging from plotting and dialogue to unconvincing special effects to jarring cameos. CNN critic Brian Lowry wrote that the show is experiencing an identity crisis. Collider has been pummeling The Mandalorian with headlines like, "Here's what's killing The Mandalorian Season 3. Digital Trends demanded to know what the hell happened to The Mandalorian." Forbes says the entire series fumbled a key storyline, and the whole season seems to have lost its way, with both Mando and Grogu fading into the background and no clear overarching story to follow. That "lost its way" line is recurring, with MovieWeb headlining How the Mandalorian Has Lost Its Way, decrying a sheer lack of anything to drive the story forward. But Jon Favreau simply wants to say, well, fans thought he was going to be Aragorn, and he's not. We really weren't going there, so I get it. That you don't get a pass for that. You don't get a pass for that. And the thing is, too, is like, as a Star Wars channel here at Echo Base Network, we love Star Wars, and don't get it wrong. We want to see it be healthy and good and great, and we're going to hold Lucasfilm accountable until we get a return of great Star Wars, if that ever happens. But until then, we're going to continue to be critical about things that we don't like and that we think are stupid. And Jon Favreau's comments right here are stupid. They're stupid. How about you fall on the sword, Jon, and say, you know what, Season 3 got away from us, but just like typical Hollywood speak, he's not going to take accountability for the failure of Season 3. I'm definitely going to be interested to see what happens in Season 4. Personally, I think the show should have ended after Chapter 16. Luke shows up, flies off with Grogu after destroying all the Dark Troopers, and Mando takes his helmet off, cry, tear, all that stuff, and then the show is over. And Mike Zero doesn't have anything left to talk about. Anyways, that's my thoughts. I want to know, what are your thoughts? Thank you for being here at Echo Base Network, where we say you are Echo Base Network, because you are a big part of this. May the Force be with you. I'll see you guys on the next one.